Do you need to get a home inspection? Why is it super important that you get a home inspection before you buy that house? Okay, I got my buddy here, Derrick Walls. We're going to talk about it, guys. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Let's get it. Hey guys, how you doing? This is Sasha Chatman here with Chatman Realty Group, and I'm bringing you yet another video. This time we're talking about the home inspection process. Do you need to get one? Why is it important? Yeah, you do. Okay, so we're going to jump right into it. This here is
Derrick Walls with Superior Inspections.
Derrick is my go-to home inspector. He takes care of all my buyers. Now, obviously, I got to give them a choice. They can choose whoever they want to, but when they ask for recommendations, this is the guy. I text his number over to him, and he takes care of my buyers. So Derrick and I are going to have a conversation about the home inspection process. All right, Derrick, let's talk about it. Why is it important for people to have a home inspection before they buy a house, from your perspective?
Well, first of all, it's a part of the due diligence process that everyone should take in preparation for purchasing a home.
Yeah.
And just like they're hiring you, it's just a part of the process of bringing in the right expertise. Because what we do is we go in and we uncover things that you generally are not going to see as a consumer,
Right.
As you're going through on your showings along with you guys. So generally we are in the house about 3 to 4 hours. That gives us plenty of time to learn all the ins and outs of the house and report those findings back to our consumers, and that way they're more educated on what they're purchasing.
You know, guys, I can't tell you how many times I have a buyer who asks about not getting a home inspection, and they're like, well, I don't really want to get one. You know, my friend, my uncle, my cousin, my dad can do this. They can't.
Nope.
They can't. This is not their cup of tea. You really need to hire a professional because, I mean, he and I both, we've seen horror stories where we see, let's just call it what it is. The testosterone gets into play, and people are trying to show how knowledgeable they are about buying a house when they bought one home. And they are handy in some way. This man will save you money. Right? He will save you time and money. So Derrick, can you tell us about a time when you've had to go through that process and someone else on the outside, not the customer who's buying the house, is like, no, this house has got all these problems, or this house is fine, and it's not?
Well, most definitely. That's one of the things too, Sasha, that I like to touch base on. One of the suggestions I would give consumers is to try to minimize the number of people that you bring to your showings, bring to the inspection, because sometimes you can get information overload. You get, again, we're the professionals. You hire us to do what we do as a part of your due diligence. And what I have experienced is sometimes you get so many voices in your ear that it becomes information overload. And oftentimes I'm hearing uncles and dads that are seeing things that are counterproductive to what we're actually telling our clients.
Here's one thing about real estate, guys, is people will tell you one or two stories. The best process they ever had and the best experience they ever had, or the worst. Usually it's the worst. When someone had a hot water heater explode on them or something like that, then that becomes a fear that they project onto you when you're trying to go through the home buying process. And you got to ask yourself, like, will that actually happen? But there's a flip side to it too. There's people who don't listen to the home inspector and will buy a jacked up house. So let's talk about that. How do you educate people on, this is what I love about Derrick. He educates people on what is home repair versus what is, true home repair, and what is home maintenance. How do you go about that process?
Well, I start my review with my client by tiering the information. And by that, I mean, I will tier it in a level of importance. And generally that starts with the roof and foundation.
Right.
Two most expensive components of the home. So what I do is I tell them as I'm starting that review process, hey, let's start with your roof and foundation because of the fact that they're the most expensive. Right. Then once you get those two components clear, then we're saying everything is tending to be downhill from there.
Right,
so what I'm doing is I'm setting up their expectations to understand the information and be able to better process the information we're about to provide.
Yeah. I like that about Derrick's reports and just how he does it. Some agents, let me just be very clear, some agents don't want the inspector to go over everything. He does that. And I don't ask him not to go over everything. I'm going to go over everything because the home is the most expensive thing you're probably going to buy in your lifetime. And it's not shoes. You just can't take it back. Once you sign the papers, it's a done deal. So I want to make sure my clients understand what they're buying and they're protected and they're happy. But Derrick does a really good job and saying, okay, yeah, it has these issues, but that's home maintenance. This is what you expect out of a house that's 10, 15, 20 years old, okay? But when that roof is jacked up, well, let's talk about that real quick. The big five.
Okay.
And here's my perspective on the big five: roof, foundation, plumbing, electrical, and HVAC. If those things are typically healthy, you're buying a pretty healthy home. Would you agree with that?
I would totally agree with that.
Okay. So here's the deal about that. You can see a roof to a degree. Now, if it's raining, not so much. But you got to get on top of a roof to still see it. You can see foundation to a degree now. You can feel it too in the slopes. But with the naked eye, I can't tell you anything about an AC. I can't tell you anything about the electrical or the plumbing. That's where these guys come in to play. I mean, you're seeing things with your eyes and your eyes only, but the process that Derrick takes a house through actually really tests it. Can you tell them a little bit about the AC unit? How do you guys actually test that, for an example?
Sure. One thing I'll start with, especially given the time of year that we're in now, because a lot of our clients do kind of have questions and a little apprehension. When it's below 60 degrees outside, we can unfortunately run the AC on the cooling side. We do, however, run the heating, but running the AC under 60 degrees, you can potentially damage the compressor. So that's something for all consumers to know. But what we will always do to protect our consumers is we will put a clause in our report that states that we were unable to run and operate the cooling system, but we also have a clause that says to have the system checked beyond a standard maintenance, but to leak test the system and to check the Freon levels. And I, as a matter of fact, just told a client this on yesterday. If those two components check off, that the system is not leaking and the Freon levels are adequate, it's gonna cool. So that's what we kind of tell them just for preparing them at this time of year. Then to get back to your question though, is how we check a system. We use laser thermometers, which are very accurate. We're shooting the readings as they go into the unit and as the temperature come out of the unit. And by state guidelines, that system has to drop the temperature at least 15 degrees. If it doesn't, then that's considered unsatisfactory. So that's one way that we test the system and its performance. Then another one, we use infrared camera imagery. We shoot the unit itself, and what we're doing there is just looking to make sure that the system doesn't have any leaks within the system itself. So those are two major ways that we're looking at those systems as far as how it's going to perform.
So I'm just going to say that when you hear all the detail of what he's doing, and that's just the AC. That's just looking at the HVAC system. We're not even looking at plumbing, the testing, and the oven testing and all that. We're not going through all that right now. But you got to ask yourself, can your regular everyday handyman or a guy who's decently handy do all those things? And the answer to that is probably no. Probably no. So once you get the home inspection completed, so what happens next? So Derrick gives over the report, right? And it's saying that we need to get someone out there for repairs or whatever. This is the point where you negotiate, okay? So you're not going to get everything on the inspection report. I can tell you that right now, because it's pretty lengthy, like 30, 36 pages, 40 pages?
30 to 40 pages, and that includes photos.
So he's going to have photos of what's going on, what's breaking down, but here's the deal. Once again, we're going back to the big five. The big five, and they are roof, foundation, plumbing, electrical, HVAC. If those things are working out well, then you're going to be good to go, okay? So I have seen people try to ask for everything on the home inspection. No bueno. It doesn't work out that way because, especially in this market right now, know your market, understand where you are. And in our market right now, there's multiple offers. When someone's asking for a ton of things, then they're just going to say, you know what, no, we're going to go to something else. So if it's home maintenance, be prepared to do some stuff yourself. Remember, guys, you're buying a house if it's not brand spanking new, you need to be ready to do some home maintenance. And if it's a brand new home, be ready to maintain your home regardless, okay? So just know that that's what happens after the inspection. Then it's time to negotiate and get some repairs done or money negotiated, one or the other. So real quick, let's talk about that shift and how much does an inspection cost these days? How much are they going for? And just kind of walk them through that.
Sure. On average, I would say about between $400 and $500, and that also includes having a termite inspection or WDI. Which stands for wood destroying insects. That's a term that you'll hear quite regularly in the real estate industry. So by the time we do a home inspection, a WDI inspection, Probably about 70% of the homes we do have a lawn irrigation system here in Texas. So all in for all three, on average between $400 and $500.
Right. But it also changed depending on the size of the home.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
And then if there's a pool involved as well, right?
Yes, that would be an additional cost, which also falls under optional systems.
What else is an additional cost? I think
Septic systems.
septic tanks,
Yeah, septic systems.
What about self-propaning homes, anything like that? Like homes that have propane on the property?
No, nothing extra there. Because really, we don't do anything with the propane system itself, other than checking it and the connections within the home.
See, I'm learning here too, guys. That's why we have these conversations all the time. Okay, so last, let's talk about when do you do the inspection? Okay, so here's how this works, all right? When you go out and you start house shopping, you're pre-approved obviously first, right? You're pre-approved. Now you're looking to buy a home and you go under contract. So here in Texas, once you go under contract, we have something called the option period, which is typically somewhere between 3 and 10 days. Now, not to get to all that, but the longer the option period, the less competitive your offer is. So the shorter the option period, the better. I typically go for like 5 to 7 days for my clients. Now, which means this, if you go under contract, you need to have that inspection really the next day or the day after that. You don't want to get too far in. The reason for that is if Derrick finds something wrong in the home, Derrick is going to recommend you get a professional to come in to look at it. For example, plumbing, right?
Yes.
And you need to be ready for that. So if a plumber, if he's saying, hey, you need to get a professional plumber out here to look at this home, or a professional roofer, we need time, guys. So we don't want to wait to the end of your option period and try to scramble go find a professional contractor. Now, let me talk about who pays for what, how this works. You pay for your home inspection, all right? If you want to go get a plumber or AC guy out there or electrician, those are all the 3 trades that take call pay. Okay, chimney sweep too sometimes. They will not come out for free. You got to pay them. So that comes out of your pocket as the buyer to pay that. So the question I always get is, well, the seller doesn't pay for it. Do you really want the seller to go get their guy to say what's wrong with the property for you? No. The seller has the right to get their own person, but you need to hire someone, a professional, to tell you what's going on. Now, roofers and foundation guys, we can get those folks out there for free. So that's when you get your home inspection. And when you get that report, well, let's talk about that. You're not getting the report until you pay him. Okay? It is not a service that this is one of these upfront costs of buying a home. So that's why I bring that up. It's not a service in which that Derrick's going to get paid on the back end. You're paying for his time and his service right now. That's any home inspector. Okay? And this is why your agent needs to be educating you in the process to make sure you understand, because let's say you buy this house, you want this house, you hire Derrick to do the inspection, and then Derrick says, it's no bueno. Guess what? We go to the next house, got to pay him again. So if I, as your agent, or your agent is saying, this house is pretty messed up, you might not want to do it, you might want to listen to him, because at that point, you're already out of $500 in option money, so now $600. You got to go get another house, it's another $100, and then another $500. So think about that. Think about that.
And we do give a discount on the second time around, so we always kind of trying to keep our customers' interest in mind as well.
And that's out of the kindness of his own heart, because he doesn't have to, because it's going to take him the same amount of time to do that work yet again. But this is why we don't want you guys trying to buy bad homes. If I can save my client from doing, if I see that, I'll tell him. But the biggest thing I can tell you is, listen to this man. Listen to your home inspector. It is super important to listen to your home inspector. When you don't, be ready to be buying a problem that could cost you money.
Most definitely.
Yep.
That's probably the number one reason for getting a home inspector.
It is
to minimize your out-of-pocket expenses.
Absolutely. I can't tell you how many times Derrick has been able to save some of my clients, and how many times in which some of my clients who went with another inspector didn't work out so great. You get what you pay for, people. I will tell you that right now. If a guy's charging you $200 for a home inspection, and he in there for 30 minutes,
I hear it all the time. I
got a client right there doing it right now. Their father did the inspection. I'm sitting there like, and they were in there 30 minutes.
Not good.
So don't do that to yourself. All right, guys. Derrick's information is going to be down below. So if I'm not your real estate agent, you're here in DFW, you still need a bomb inspector, this guy is the guy. He and his team is awesome. Okay, you should be working with me, but if you're not, that's fine. It's all good. Make sure you work with Derrick. And if you're not in our area and you need a good home inspector or you need a good realtor, let us know. Comment down below, and we will follow back up with you and get you hooked up with somebody. All right. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Peace.
Thanks.